Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Um, yes. So just a quick question for you right out the gate. I see in your icon, you're wearing like your shirt, like your nice crisp white shirt and your thing. Do you keep to like just a brand and an image in that way as well as like whatever you do, like try to have like like a similar look for everything you do?
I'm old school, man. You know what I mean? Like my grandfather taught me at a very, very young age. It's you never get a second chance to make a first impression, right? And albeit
Hmm.
even working
Hmm.
from home, I'm jumping on conference calls, video calls, Zoom meetings every now and then. But it's something about just the mindset, the routine and the habitual act of getting ready for the day. And even though I'm working from, I could very easily be
Yes.
in a t-shirt, but it's not my makeup, man. Even from a young boy, I was always, making sure that I had the clean shirt and nice
Dress
clothes, right?
proper.
Dress proper, yeah, man. You know, so
Yeah.
it's just me.
Yeah.
To each their own, right? Like some people are the opposite way. They can jam in shorts and a t-shirt and get it done. Me, I need to have that part of my routine.
Right. Yeah. I remember when I went to yeah, I went to California for this business thing, and you see like the CEOs walking around in flip flops and barefoot in their office, and like it's just so chill, right? Like that's like
Yeah,
that West Coast vibe where it's just like they just don't care about anything, right?
yeah. It's not. It's. I've heard some guys chatting in the war rooms as well that it's the guys that really call the shots that can come to work in their PJs or you work this corporate ladder to make sure that you have the well-dressed suits and the nice crisp clothes and next thing you know you're working for a guy that's or a gal
Mhm.
that's just chill with the t-shirt and flip-flops on, right?
It's
So
board shorts and
who is really running the
right.
show, right? So I guess it's a thing, man. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. I
yeah,
got my colleague on
yeah.
here,
We got a bit of a
Jason.
delay there. Is that weird?
Do we?
Yeah, he's yeah. Do you notice that? Like it's
I'm okay on my end. You want me to
yeah.
come off and come back
Seems
on?
like yeah. Let's try again. I think when
Cool.
I sent out my AirPods, I might have threw it off. So let's try one more time.
These tendencies with live, especially with Instagram. I've jumped on a few from time to time, and it never really has that sort of seamless integration yet. They're still working it out.
Yeah. So it's all good. And that's, I mean, like, I like things being authentic as well. Like, and we both know that. Like, you see how there's this lean towards things being more authentic and raw and unpolished. So this kind of just goes through it. Like, if your kid runs by in the background or like this noise in my back or whatever, that's,
Par for the course, man.
yeah, exactly,
That's the one
exactly.
thing I had a chat with a colleague of mine. I told him the other day, it's just like that's the one saving grace throughout this whole pandemic. It took a global pandemic for us to humanize communication, to
Thank
be
you.
okay with life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it's a blessing in disguise, man.
And especially for women, right? Like, I mean, I know for my wife and her experience in the corporate world, there's times when it's like, they're doing a meeting. It's like, well, let's go out for drinks afterwards. And like, well, I can't. I have to get back to my kids. Or,
Right.
I'm the only one here who's actually a mom because everyone around here is like these 27-year-olds who are just trying to climb the corporate ladder. So there was no room for kids. There was no room for, making sure that your kids are fed before jumping on your next call. Whereas now everyone's like, yeah, take your time. Well, you can just do it or just have your camera off. Like there's more of accommodation for that humanity piece. And I think that that's opening some doors for people at the same time.
Yeah, it's not only women though. I'm in the same boat right now. Like I've got two
Yeah.
kids under 4. Thankfully, they're at daycare, private daycare, so it's nice and controlled and as far as the numbers are concerned, which is reassuring for us. But
Yeah.
I used to sit on a number of different boards and chambers of commerce and volunteer my time. I used to be out the door at like 6 a.m. and not coming back until 8, 9 o'clock at night. Um,
Yeah.
when my son was born, it was like the first 3 months I didn't even see him. I remember he was born to the day after I went into the studio and I closed a a 5-figure deal.
Yeah.
And I look back at that now. When my daughter was born, it was a completely different story. I was like, never again. Like I took 2 weeks off, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
it was an eye-opening experience because I missed a lot during that
Mm-hmm.
time. But
Yeah. So We'll dive deep into that again.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll circle back to that. For those who don't know you, can you just say your name and your business and talk about your podcast and all the stuff you got going on?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. So, like, I wear a number of different hats. So, I'm Neil Persaud, father, business development wizard is the hashtag that I go by, BizDevWiz. I've been around the block for some time. I've been doing digital marketing for about 20 some odd years, more specifically with business development, sales, multimedia publishing. I've helped scale 3 agencies in the last 20 some odd years. And I thought, this natural evolution. Right now, I'm with a design agency in Toronto. It's called Forge Media and Design. So that's my 9 to 5. We focus on reimagining space. And that space could be anything from digital, virtual, or physical realms. And what we like to do is create a 4th dimension, what we like to call is the felt experience, right? So when you can mesh 1 or 2 or more of those realms, it really provides a unique opportunity to create a lasting memory for the audiences that you're serving, right? And so that's carte blanche across the board. Like, anyone can apply those types, whether it's brick and mortar or whether you're an e-com and wanting to take a closer look at that customer journey and how people are coming to your site, whether it be from social channels, things like this, and then what is that process as far as them going through the sales funnel, right?
Yes.
I guess that's my 9 to 5. My 5 to 9, or what I would like to call my 9 to 12, because from 5 to 9 is prime daddy daycare hours, right? It's like kids are home, we're all in it, we're sharing the workload with the wife, kids got to get fed, nighttime routine, that kind of stuff, right? That's where my patience threshold really sort of gets turned up a notch, right?
Yes.
It's one of the biggest things that I'm working on, Martin, is patience. But they're teaching me that for sure. But recently I came across, I had a number of different individuals over the pandemic reach out to me, and they wanted some guidance with regards to digital marketing, sales development, business development, and they're just picking my brain. And I said to myself, there's an opportunity here to help people. And I think, like, when I was back in the digital marketing agency world, I think that was one of the things that really drew me there, was the ability to help people. There was I felt like a psychologist. So many people came to me like, Neil, I'm spending $10,000 a month. I've got a windows and doors company in the GTA, but I look at the analytics and the website traffic, and 50% of my traffic is coming from the UK. And I'm like, well, you're not offering biz services in the UK, are you? And they're like, no. And, my heart sunk, right? I was just like, imagine, he was in 6 months in before he'd even talk to me.
Yes.
And so that's $60,000 just dropped, and there's no return, right? Except the experience of learning. So there's a lot of fly-by-night guys that are out there, or quote unquote experts, and I just said to myself, I got to help somehow. So by me getting involved in digital marketing and trying to find a great team to execute, I actually donated a lot of time. I was social media chair for the Ontario Camps Association on a volunteer basis, and I held about quarterly workshops, everything to look at as far as website 101, marketing automation tools, best practices for email marketing, social media management, Google AdWords, social ads, those types of things, right? Because I was tired of them getting taken advantage of. And 2 and 2, I decided to create this little, I don't want to call it a side hustle, but it's a side gig, right? Me to help out and pretty much take a closer look at offering my areas of expertise to people that are looking for assistance. So that's under the BizDevWiz, BizDevWiz.com and BizDevWizard banner. But fast forward or rewind a little bit, at the last agency that I was with, I created this initiative called Hustlemode. And really, Hustlemode was something, it's similar to what you're doing here, Martin, but on a smaller scale, right? Like, you've got a really good, tight-knit community that's supporting each other, and you're collaborating from time to time based on different discussions or topics and things of that nature. Even your preempted chat and an invite today for people to put their online course in the chat here as a way to further create ripple effect by reciprocity, right? And I created something a little bit different, but with a sales initiative. And I don't mean that self-serving. It was more or less like, I had gathered subject matter experts in their area of domain or their area of expertise. So there was a guy that was doing everything to deal with systems or SaaS, with ERP integration and ordering inventory and things of that nature.
Okay.
There was a guy that was working with exclusively commercial real estate. I had a gentleman that was dealing with commercial insurance exclusively. One that was focusing on personal lines of insurance. There was another
like
gentleman
almost
that
like
was
a
focusing on Internet of Things, so the IoT. Sorry?
so like a digital business networking meeting almost.
Yeah, it was pretty much like a BNI or
Yeah.
like a smaller group of, sales professionals or CEOs and owners. And basically the thought there was for us to open forum, meet on a weekly basis to discuss challenges, objections, and share information that could assist their clients within that close knit.
Yes.
Because you know as well as I do, like regardless of whether it's B2B or B2C, people, word of mouth marketing is the number one referral base, right? Like that's not since the dawn of time. Since we invented fire, that was a thing, right? So,
Yes. Yeah.
this was a way to extend that to help people within our circle of influence in order for them to gain value from the industry experts that we were working. So that was the sort of the premise of it. And once I left digital marketing, I actually went to a private school and I helped them for about 6 months, gained about a little over 450,000 contracted revenue, grew their client base about 20%, and during that time. But it was great for them for me to experience that because I used to work in private education and market private schools across North America, as well as summer camps, year-round programs, and retirement homes. So a lot of these industries that I have experience with allowed me to gain better insight in order for us to execute. But now as we scratch the surface with this, it's like the Hustlemode podcast came to fruition because a colleague of mine reached out and he sent me over a mic, a Yeti mic, and a camera, a laptop camera.
Just
send it over. Yeah. And then I messaged him. I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Well, we're gonna do this podcast YouTube channel that we were talking about." And I was like, "Okay, well, we need a name." He's like, "What happened to the Hustlemode?" I'm like, "Okay, let's reinvigorate it." So it came to be, and that's why I've been circling your show for the number of times just to see how things are going. But we're about 8-9 episodes in. Hustlemode is everything to do with entrepreneurship, business development, sales, IoT, best practices, and there's some life hacks in there as well. We bring on guests from different industries. So we've had an individual from a digital marketing agency. We've had a jeweler that's been operating in Toronto for about 30 years. That episode's about to drop. This gentleman got shot, has been in the game, got robbed, still running this jewelry, diamonds, and engagement rings exclusively in Toronto. Very successful. Really cool story. So I'd encourage you guys, if you're interested to learn a little bit more about those types of topics, head on over to Hustlemode_podcast. We always appreciate a follow, or join us on YouTube if you want to consume that on the video front. I see your brother's got a question for us. What's going on there?
Yes, he does. He says, "You speak at such a high level. What happened to my you who used to drop 6 in the cap? How did you get into this and find a passion for it?"
Yo, Phil, I'm still dropping 6, man. Don't worry about it. You can catch a 6 anytime. No, man, this is just, it's this is how it is, man. It's evolution.
Yeah, exactly. We'll circle back to the Domino's question in a second. But now you're saying earlier about like people getting taken advantage of, 1, and 2, like SEOs and digital marketing and Google ads and stuff like that. I feel like there's so much stuff out there, and it's just like, how do we know when to use what? Like, as we see Google ads come, Instagram, Facebook ads, and search engine optimization. And so if I'm starting my business, how am I supposed to know what is for me? Like, I guess everything works, but like that's to wade through. So I'm not dropping 10K. Not that I have that, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like that happens a lot.
Yeah, great question. I think honestly, before you can actually pursue any of the paid ad strategy, you really got to take a closer look at your own house So there's three types of media, right? There's paid, earned, and owned.
Okay.
So when you're first starting out, you're really just you're trying to create your own owned media.
Okay.
So do you have your logo? Do you have your brand guidelines, mission, vision statement? Do you have your, your colors and your type of font that you're going to look at? Back when business cards were a thing, do you have that stationery and all those jazz sorted out, right?
Right.
That's probably like after the business is registered, the next thing that you look at as far as the to-do list, right? The other one would probably be you need a website, right?
Yep.
What is
So
that
you
going to be?
so our,
Go ahead.
no, sorry, but I was gonna ask about the business cards. Like our business cards are not a thing anymore.
You tell me. I haven't handed out a business card in 14 months. Right?
Right. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think, you can get away with not having a business card. It's totally acceptable. There's a lot of NFC, so near field communications, where you take your mobile phone and you've got a QR code and you join mobile phones to mobile phones and you can exchange business information, right?
Right.
Um, LinkedIn has a QR code. Did you know Instagram has a QR code?
No.
So
No, I didn't know that.
yeah, you go in the settings and then you can look for your profile details and you can find a QR code. So if
Yep.
you wanted to share it that way, you could share it that way as well. There's a QR code generator. So if you had a YouTube channel and you wanted to create a link and you were doing a third party sort of post, you wanted to
Yep.
have that available, you can grab that instead of having a link, right? So there's a
Right.
lot of things that are available to us. We don't need to get caught up in that mindset of traditional, pen and paper type of delivery.
Right. Right. Right.
Kind of
Okay.
makes you
So
stand out too, right? Because if you're doing things
absolutely.
a little bit differently, then people start to take notice. I like to refer to it as peacocking, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But now, okay. So, but what about how, like, what if that's just intimidating? Like, Noam just walked in here, right? Like, he's a great Plies guy out in the BC area.
Nice.
And so we do these things, and then we have like a QR code, and we have all these fancy things, and we have some old school client who comes in, and like they're just like they just want to, where's my pencil and pen so I can get your
Yeah,
information, like
great
like
point.
you know,
I think it's important for you to understand who your target audience is, right, and who your clientele is,
I guess that's the
right?
first
Because
point,
if
right?
you if you try, yeah, you need to ensure that you're reducing the friction that you're operating with your community on, right?
Reduce your
So
friction. I like that.
because if the majority of your individuals are older and they're not used to technology, well, number one, this is a great teaching moment for you and them.
Mhm.
But if you understand that a lot more of those individuals are headed down a certain path, it becomes challenging. Which, by the way, I don't believe in sexism, ageism, or any type of any of that minority talk and visible minority that kind of stuff. I don't look at the world in that through that lens.
Yeah.
The fastest growing demographic right now online happens to be boomers. So people of a certain age, demographics 55 plus. There's a stat that says that I think it's women in that category post about 10 times a day through social. And it doesn't seem to be slowing down, right? So
Right.
the one friction point would be that there's two rules of thumb, right? So if you can explain something as far as a process to a 6-year-old, that means you understand it yourself. If you can't speak in layman's terms to make someone understand, then you're A, trying to impress them, or B, it just becomes too difficult as far as the process. So if
Yeah.
that client is not familiar with how to operate, then maybe something's broken on your website or through your form fills, or you're not using the right software, or maybe it's too convoluted for them to understand. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Yeah, absolutely. I can use an example of that is I switched over to using Calendly
Yep.
for my online booking for core conversations, right? So
Hmm.
before I would say to someone like, "Hey, I'd love you for you to be a guest," and they'd say, "How is Tuesday?" And I'd say, "Well, no, well maybe Wednesday." Well, Wednesday doesn't work. What about next Tuesday? Okay, well next Tuesday's not good. How about Thursday? Thursday 8 p.m. No, the show's only at 10 o'clock, and then it would be like 19 messages to lock down May 27th at 10 a.m. Now I just say, I'd love to have you on. Here's a link to Calendly, and then it just opens up a booking software, and then they could choose Monday to Friday at 10 o'clock whenever they like. And I have someone booked in for June 2nd, and then I just forget about it until June 1st, and then I just reach out to them. So I've saved like a million steps by just having the simplest of software. And like I said, it's not to impress, but it's just one step, and it's so easy to follow, and it's so basic,
And it's free.
and it's free.
How'd you learn about it?
Um, I
Do you
I
remember?
typed in. Well, I remember someone was talking about different like booking softwares.
Uh-huh.
So I typed in black owned business softwares, like
Okay.
black owned like whatever. Like, I think it was like booking softwares, and I found that actually Calendly was owned by Toto. I can't remember his last name now. So I
Okay.
thought it was pretty cool.
Had no idea.
Yeah, exactly. But
Thanks.
then,
Yeah.
I didn't. The only thing, the reason why, like, that's one thing to look for something that's black owned, but I want it to be good still. Like, I'm not gonna go to like an incompetent black owned tax guy, and the next thing you know, I'm thrown in jail. So I want someone who's good still,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it is clean. It's really clean. It's easy to use.
I use it myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So I think that it just worked well for me. I found it was really easy for me to learn, and then I'm finding that the people that are booking have never asked me another question after I send them the link, and they just pop up in my calendar as ready to go. So
Yeah.
it's really clean, it's simple, it's easy to use, and then I'm also supporting a business that I believe in. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Going back to your conversation, or what the initial question was, pertaining to steps, right?
Yes.
So I think it's very important for you to look at your own media. And so whether that's generating an email list, looking at your own website and applying some best practices, right? Are you mobile ready or responsive, right? Mobile usage, even though we're at home, mobile usage is still exceeding desktop usage, right?
Yeah.
So people are using their mobile phones to go on a website more than they are using, their laptop or their desktop computer. So how does your website fit the mold of those different screens, right? That's called
Right.
mobile responsive and mobile ready, right? So that's a huge feature as well to take a closer look at as far as your own data and analytics and how the website is being set up, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you said, so there's owned. What was the other
Earned,
two again?
owned, earned, and paid.
Okay. So then, can you say a little bit more about the earned piece?
The earned piece is more or less what we're doing right now. So
Okay.
this is an earned piece of media that we are cultivating and creating. You can be your own, well, I guess it's twofold. If it's going to be earned, I'm earning media right now through you by being a
Okay.
guest. Okay,
Yes.
so anyone that wants to be a guest on a podcast, here's a great thing about podcasts and things of like this nature. The content creators are always looking for guests. So if you have any unique perspective or you're a subject matter expert, then you're helping them fill a void, which is the constant struggle of creating daily or weekly content in their channel. Okay.
Right.
Other earned media could be associations that you're involved with. Associations or regulation boards are always looking for guest speakers, thought leaders, contributions to email newsletters, articles, things of that nature. It's just a matter of picking up a phone call or sending an email to see how you can contribute on that front.
Yeah.
You might even have an opportunity to do, for your audience here, a guest session. So imagine doing a virtual session to, let's say, the Mississauga Board of Trade, if you belong to that group, and saying,
Right.
okay, you know what, I'm a member. What I'd like to do is offer a free session for the next time you guys are talking about wellness, and I want to bring this to the table for all of the members to enjoy. You're not pitching anything, so it's free, right? You're providing your subject matter expertise, and people are getting familiar with your personal brand. So that's another way to sort of captivate on the earned media piece. And then there's
Very
traditional media, right? So it's like,
Yes.
if you're going through and so sending a press release over to local newspapers, local chambers of commerce, if they have their own digest guide or something like that.
Yes.
When you're covered in another form of media, that's earned.
Very cool. And then the third one,
Owned, earned, and paid. So
and
the last
paid
one
is
is
just like,
pay to play, man.
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Open up your wallet and set up your Google AdWords,
Yes.
set up, promote some sponsorship posts through social media, right? Set up your lookalike campaigns and your geo-targeted ads on Facebook, things of that nature.
Nice. For those watching, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat here. Yeah, that's helpful, Neil. And it's funny how like you're making it, like you said, like you're making it sound simple, and that sort of thing. It kind of gets me excited to go out and just look at what I'm doing, how I'm going to re-strategize it, how do I do it. But I always get caught up in the how and the what's the next step sort of thing, right? So you explained that a little bit, but I feel like that's the place where I personally get stuck because I want to do everything now, right?
Right.
I want to just do all three of those owned, earned, and paid like today.
You can though.
Okay.
Okay. And the reason I say that is because like it's here's the thing about digital marketing. It's always changing, right? It's
Yes.
always advancing. There's always something new that's coming into the mix, right? 8 months ago, there wasn't a Clubhouse. You know, now there's a Clubhouse. Now the valuation for Clubhouse is XYZ billion dollars, right? Now every other social media wants to have a drop-in audio component in order for them to compete and take away that market share or audience from Clubhouse.
Yes.
So it's always changing. The thing is that how quickly do you want to scale your organization based on the tools that are available to us and taking a closer look at your budget? I think that's where the playing field has been leveled off. Because yesteryear, you know, if you were to look at the three main types of media that people were consuming, would be television, radio, outdoor. Those particular arenas were, you know, so expensive that it put small businesses to a detriment in order for them to have the bank in order to play.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
Now you can do that at your own leisure, right? You can have your own TV series, start a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah. Right.
It's free. Right. It's free. it's free, right? Like do this, go live, it's free, right? Like go live on Facebook, it's free. Go live on LinkedIn, it's free, right? Like there's so many things that we can do that are free that people aren't necessarily activating on.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe it's just there's too many options. Just out of curiosity, even like in the chat here, how many of you use LinkedIn? Just like give me like a hand icon, wave a hand, just out of curiosity, because we're here on IG and Facebook's fun catching up with your family members and stuff like that. How many of you actually use IG to like? I mean, LinkedIn is so powerful in terms of like, you know, like you mentioned live. I never go live on LinkedIn. You know, I don't even know how up to date my profile is on LinkedIn. Like it's there because I know that I should have it, but I'm just curious as to that, right? So maybe it's just that we get too caught up on one piece and we don't really look at, you know, all the other options that we have, right?
100%. And no one's had their coffee in the chat this morning.
I know.
Phil, are you still with us, brother? Are you on LinkedIn? It's okay, I won't call him out. You know what? LinkedIn's changing. They have a creator mode. Okay. And that creator mode is actually going to be able to reward content developers in the near future. So you're going to be able to layer in video as well as they're actually thinking. I overheard something the other day that they will be looking to do an audio drop-in similar to how Clubhouse is operating. So there's going to be some changes that are happening on that. So, and again, I think I live on LinkedIn, bro. I live on LinkedIn. I'm a big advocate. And I was on LinkedIn before LinkedIn was a thing. You know what I mean?
Well, yes, exactly. You know, it's funny. The reason why I jumped on the LinkedIn is because I know like us warm, fuzzy, like helper people don't think corporate. And we feel that that's too stuffy, too corporate. That's too, you know what I mean? Like, let's just get hands-on with the people as opposed to, I'm not trying to find a job right now, so I don't need LinkedIn. And that sometimes is the mindset. So as you see in the chat here now, Hannah on the mat is in Finland. Mm-hmm. And she's like, not really just a profile. Phil is on it, and now he's working in some mortgage work too, right? So that's part of what he does. Mm-hmm. AU Pilates and Fitness says, I have a LinkedIn account but rarely use it. Norm BC, I have an account but don't use it. Right? Okay. So
let me ask you something. Sure. For the audience that's here joining us right now. We were just talking about LinkedIn being, you know, maybe a fitness instructor or Pilates. Is there a difference between the type of people that come to you? Like the same people that are on LinkedIn are the same people that are on Instagram, are they not?
Well, it's interesting. Now, this is part of the conversation you and I had that one time when we chatted.
Yeah.
The people who are on LinkedIn who watch me, I'm
Mhm.
preaching to the choir. Like these people are Pilates people already. So I don't need to tell Noam you need to do Pilates, but I might need to tell someone on LinkedIn who is some corporate guy sitting at his desk who follows me, he needs Pilates because he's not doing it right now.
Here's the benefit of LinkedIn. Okay. Are you ready?
Mhm.
I hope your audience is ready because this is gold. This is absolute gold.
Okay.
LinkedIn for you guys is a game changer in the sense that you have an opportunity to sell corporate blocks or subscriptions or memberships to their HR, to their C-level suite, to whoever is the driver in their organization to adopt wellness, healthy living habits into their organization. Every corporate entity that I've come across has some type of health and wellness division, department, um, leader, um, individual that's organizing the benefits of healthy habits within their organization.
Right.
So as a Pilates fitness studio owner, is it advantageous for me to put out content that identifies what are the benefits of a healthy lifestyle and how that correlates to a healthy workplace? Not a far fetch, right?
Right. Yes.
Real estate was, there's real estate agents putting houses up on LinkedIn through the feed right now. And one
Right.
would be like, well, why are people doing that? Well, white collar individuals want to buy a house. Pretty good strategy,
Yeah. Right.
People
Yes.
got money that's on LinkedIn, right?
Right.
The other thing is that like there's an opportunity for you to differentiate yourself and leverage other platforms. Here's the golden nugget, Martin. You put out an article that speaks
Yes.
to the benefits of movement or healing or combating stress in the time of this particular crisis. And I comment on that article saying, hey, Martin,
Yes.
you know what? That's a good point. I never really
Yes.
thought about how Pilates could actually help alleviate stress in my current situation or at home environment. Do you have any
Yes.
tips on how I could actually adopt this as somebody that's entering into this Pilates world for the new first time? And maybe
Hmm.
you exchange back and you say, hey,
Yes.
Neil, you know what? That's a great point. In fact, I did a session and here it is on my YouTube channel. Or you know what? Go to this website, which is XYZ, insert your website here, with the
Yes.
link to that article if you're interested in learning more. Now, everybody that's on my 3,000 plus, 4,000 plus connections on LinkedIn
Just saw that.
identifies that I just sent a message through you if they really wanted to look down as far as who's saying
Yes.
what where. The other thing is that you can leverage other people's audiences, right?
Right.
So you don't have to necessarily preach to the choir, right? Like, I mean, I just connected with 5 people before we even jumped on this call today.
Hmm.
Uh, it's a great opportunity to meet new individuals and figure out exactly how or what you can bring to the table to see if something's missing, right?
Yes.
And because maybe some of your audience or client
Yes.
or competition is not there, you can get a head up in the game.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I feel like you said that, and like even my post I put on this morning about the importance of um, Pilates for someone who sits at their desk all day or someone who stands all the time. This is just a game changer for mobility. It's great that I just said that to my Pilates people who know that already.
Right. Big deal.
Big deal. Like
But
everyone was just like that's true. Like,
for sure. But the
yeah,
thing is that if you're using hashtags on LinkedIn with your post,
yes,
or you're linking your articles that you're posting to your blog, to a YouTube channel, to a social, etc.,
yes, yeah,
now you're being able to fish in that pond and
hmm,
bring some people over that might not already be familiar with who you are and what they do. And maybe they
yes,
prefer to consume that content through IG or through YouTube as opposed to consuming it through LinkedIn, or maybe
right.
both, right? Who knows?
True. Okay, so then real talk here. I
Yeah,
would feel like a lot of times I've tried that and I see like I get like one like. So
sure.
I just like I'll go back over to Instagram where I have 50 people liking me.
Cool.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and there's a sense of we get caught up in getting those affirmations, getting those likes, so we don't actually put in the work and start from the ground up again on a new platform. It's like I
Yeah.
feel like I'm digging a brand new trench to start laying this foundation to build a new building again when I already have a building that's half built over here.
Yeah. So take the infrastructure of the building that you've already created over here, being IG, and repurpose it, put a different color or bow on it, and put it into the new pond or the new arena on LinkedIn, and figure out exactly how you can utilize and repurpose the content in a different fashion to start connecting with people that don't know about you.
So
Who cares about the likes?
grab an old post and just repurpose it over there and just
Yeah.
start the process over.
Start the process all over. So in your situation, you don't even have to go and reinvent the wheel. You got the content already developed for XYZ amount of time. Look
Yes.
back to your schedule and start dragging and dropping and adjusting slightly depending on how it's going to be, and test it and see what type of things you get out. I mean, here's the thing: when you did your first live, how many people jumped on it?
One.
Did it stop you? No, you kept doing it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So why not just apply the same type of mentality towards that?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
It's just time, man. It's bandwidth, right?
Yep. Absolutely. So true. That was worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I think I feel that anyone who is still with us, as soon as this is done, jump on LinkedIn and just refresh, grab some old posts, throw it up, and just play with it and just get some feedback, get some data, make a pivot, and do it again and do it again and do it again until you see what kind of interaction you get with people.
Yeah, and I mean, like, be mindful, right? Like, you're either you've been ghosted on LinkedIn or you haven't been on LinkedIn for X amount of time. Don't just start showing up and throwing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't go over there to the platform and be like, okay, great. You're all excited. You got all your stuff ready to go. I haven't been on LinkedIn. I'm getting pumped from this friggin' live session right now. I'm going to get all my stuff ready and I'm going to push it over to LinkedIn and be like, buy now, subscribe now, enter my course, go through.
Yeah,
I'm like,
sure.
You just showed up, man. Like, I've been swimming in this pool for like how long? And now you just want me to sort of drink your Kool-Aid right out the get? No.
Okay.
Provide value, right? Bring
Yeah.
the value game, right? Bring your expertise, identify content. Like, content on LinkedIn is the number one organic way for you to try to expand your mental mindset onto others and have people appreciate what you're bringing to the table. Don't come in with a right hook automatically and be like, buy now, subscribe now. I got three spots left for my virtual course. Make sure you book it now, right? Like, don't come in like that. You just,
yeah, you can't. Yeah.
It's got to be, you have to have your content game up to par and ready to go, and be mindful of how you're engaging with others.
Yes.
My 2 cents for what it's worth.
Is there a formula to that? Like 10 posts before one ask or something that's kind of like a rule of thumb with that?
That's a great point. You got to subscribe to my channel and sign up for the workbook that I have, or course. No, I'm just joking. I don't run that flex. Test it, man. Test it. I'm not selling here. By the way, guys, I'm not selling anything here, right? Martin and I go back. We had about an hour and a half conversation for his own business, a couple weeks back, and I just really want to help people, right? So, like, if you want to be reciprocal in your offering and you want to help, jump over to, Hustlemode podcast on YouTube, hit a subscribe. That'd be great for me in the algorithm. Join us over on IG, subscribe there, follow us. That'd be great. To answer your question, I don't know what's worked here. Like, I think you need to ensure that your online brand is an extension of how you want to operate in business, right? Would you go into a coffee shop for the first time and put a poster up or wave to everybody and say, hey, I'm a Pilates instructor, I have my own studio, I got 3 spots left for my virtual class this week. Who wants the book? Probably not, right?
Right.
You'd go in there, you'd mix and mingle, you'd talk to people, you maybe put up, if there's a community board, something about your studio, right? And you go back to the coffee shop and have another chat, and people would come to know you, and then they would recommend you, so on and so forth, right? So I think ease into it, right? Have a few. It's the studio that I used to work at. We used to develop or used to deploy the 80-20 rule. Okay. So 80% of the content that you're going to share has no ask, no direct call to action, no ask. And maybe it's just the Canadian in me, right? But it's like give, right? And then eventually people will inquire, or your 20% will be the self-serving content where you have a direct call to action with an offer.
Yes.
But it's
Yeah.
not until that 80% is done. So if you want to have a temperature gauge at the side, it's to
Yes.
your discretion.
That's good. That's helpful. I mean, I like the Starbucks analogy because like pre-COVID, every week I'd be in a Starbucks and just do my thing and just do my admin, all those things. And I would probably be there for a year and a half and see the same group of guys doing their mind network meeting, whatever it is, right? And eventually one of the guys started asking, and eventually he said he's a runner and a biker, and eventually he came into the studio and I started working with him.
See that?
But that was like a 2-year process.
100%. But you didn't force it, and you didn't ask because you were there doing head down your own work, and you weren't necessarily observing or maybe interacting the way that you would have if you had a business development hat or a sales hat on, right?
Yes, right.
You know this, right? The number of capes that you have when you're driving around and you're scoping clinics in the area and you're like, oh,
Yes.
mental note, I got to check that out. Or you take your phone out and you take a picture and you'll be like, okay, I got to get on that, right?
Yes.
It's about the frame of mind that you're in, right? If you go into the coffee shop wanting to earn business or close business or generate contacts or new leads, then that's the mindset that you're going to go into because that's how you're attacking it. If you're going in there with administrative mode, then that's the initiative that you're going to achieve, right?
Yeah. We're almost at the top of the hour, but
No way. Are you serious? Wow, that flew by, eh?
That's what I'm saying, man. But the thing I wanted to hit on too, and we didn't touch on this at all, but you said earlier about the psychological piece of it. The other thing that is a reality is that sometimes people are afraid of success. And what I mean by that is I can do these things and I put stuff out on LinkedIn and I start to do this, and all of a sudden I have more people asking me questions about it, and then I'm not ready, or I don't feel like my online classes are polished enough. Or what if I have 3 people who actually want mornings and my mornings are full? There's this fear of, I'm not necessarily because there's gonna be droves of people, but I can't deliver on the 1 or 2 people who actually ask, and then it makes me look bad because I don't feel like my infrastructure is ready. Or what if too many people ask me? Or what if everyone asks for the same time frame? Or what, those kind of things where we almost sabotage it before it gets started because we feel like we can't deliver on it, or we're gonna be too busy, So
yeah. I mean, that's growth, right? Like you're not going to know until you put it out there to figure out exactly what type of response is going to be coming back to you. But at the same point in time, it's a good point for you to plan for that, because if you put it out there, people want the morning slots and you don't have the availability. So what's part of your business plan in order for you to facilitate that? Do you hire and train and clone yourself, or do you work on promoting a specific time slot with a priced incentive or subscription initiative in order for them to lean towards that time versus another, right? I mean, every scenario, like every person and scenario is going to be different, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, I felt like that. Like, I mean, like there's times that, like, say my midday is always dead, but then every time I advertise something, I was like, great, can I do 7 a.m. on a Tuesday? I was like, I've had a client there for 15 years at a time. Like, everyone wants a morning before they start their day. So, you feel like I don't want to push too hard because I'm going to get stuck having to say no to people when I push.
Say no. Do you know why?
Why?
Scarcity.
Yes.
I just did a post about this the other day. It was the persuasion of design, or what is design persuasion.
Okay.
And basically it identifies, when something is limited time or scarce, it makes you want it more, right?
Yes.
Think about before you were married, right? And you were chasing, the hottest girl in town. She said no to you. You didn't stop chasing, right?
Right. Yeah.
It just became a challenge. And it's the same thing, right? Like if somebody knows they can't have it, then they want it that much more, right? And to your point, if everybody wants that 7 a.m. time slot and you're already booked, I don't know, what's your bandwidth? Do you get up an hour earlier? Do you do the 6 a.m.? Do you change the business model to fit them in? Is it price incentive where they're paying a premium now, and then you move your 7 o'clock? I don't know. Like those are your operational challenges that you need to face in order for you to determine what best fits the mold.
Yes. Yes, that is good stuff, man. I am gonna jump all over LinkedIn right after this and just
Cool, man. Yeah. I'm
like,
looking forward to it.
yeah, and like you said, and I feel like that, like my own strategy, and whoever wants to copy this strategy, feel free. But I feel like for me, for LinkedIn, it will be to just put content out just to help people and put no asks out
That's it.
there for the next 3 months and just let people see stuff and just find links and just even repost other people. Like a friend of mine, Roxy, just put out a new article and it's like a medically supported article on the benefits of Pilates.
Sure.
And it's brilliant, right? So just like grab her post, put it on my link and say, look at this. And then it's connecting her and then pulling people in, right? So you
Yeah,
could just continue to just, do that. So I think that'll be a place where I start to put some of that value added content to help people and just see what 3 months of doing that yields.
for sure. I guarantee that you'll probably have a better return than what you thought would
Yeah.
have been anticipated,
Yeah.
right? And if not, what's the worst thing that happened? You increased your personal brand and presence into an audience that potentially could be people that would purchase from you. I don't know, not a bad investment of time.
No, exactly. Exactly. I think Hannah's down to do that as well. She's like, I'm doing this ASAP when we talked about
Sweet.
LinkedIn earlier. So,
Hannah, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm at Persaud or Neil Persaud 76, or just search me. You'll find me with the same IG sort of color icon picture. And I'd be curious to monitor that from afar.
yeah, very fun. Awesome, man. That's 58 minutes, man. That was so fast.
It
And
was so fast. That was really quick.
yeah, as always, man, I appreciate you. You've done so much for me, like just by just being yourself, man. So thank you for doing this for our community too. This is really good
Awesome.
stuff.
I appreciate that, man. And like I said to you before, I'm an advocate for what you're doing, brother. So it's like always glad to see that people in our circle are doing what they want to do and they're excelling at what they want to do, and it's blessed.
Nice, nice. Thank
Finish
you,
strong
sir.
Fridays, man. That's your thing, right? So it's
That's
like
the thing.
that's it. So hopefully we finish strong for today, and I know you got some other things lined up, so I won't keep you. But
Nice.
guys, if you found value here, please support your boy. Shout him out. Copy, take a screenshot, put this in your stories. Let other people hear it. That'd be fantastic. We had a really great chat, and Martin, anytime you want to do this again, digital marketing is such a vast topic. Happy to jump on the call again, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to recycle this in podcast format. I'll send it to you. So if you want to use it, make it like a special edition on your
Sweet.
Hustlemode podcast, you could
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that as
yeah.
well, and we'll have some fun with it, man.
Yeah, sounds good. If you can even
Awesome.
give me the video, I might even share it on the YouTube. So we'll see how that
Yeah,
works.
for sure. Sounds
Okay,
good.
brother. Take
Thank you.
care.
Thank you very much. Thanks everyone who followed us as well, and thanks for your comments. We are out.